Guess where I am? Home! Thank you for all of your support on our Mexico trip and for following us. It was wonderful and something new for me to be able to shoot from the road. So I'm glad you enjoyed the videos that I posted and that you stuck around. For those of you that are really into cooking, I didn't do a ton, a little bit, but I'm really happy to be back home. I think I live in the most beautiful part of our country. So it's springtime, probably my favorite season. And I want to show you what we came home to because I'm kind of blown away. I didn't do any of this garden thinking it was going to be permanent because I didn't know what we were doing at the house, but it's looking pretty permanent now and I love this space. But what I did last fall was I mulched everything right before we left for Mexico. So I just put straw over the entire garden, all the beds around, I think all the plants, and it paid off remarkably well. Hi, lady. There are so few weeds here. I'm really actually kind of floored. I was dreading coming out here because I thought it was going to be waist-high weeds. I'm going to show you what it looks like before, and then you could see it throughout the growing season because I'll be making gardening videos all summer and fall. As you can see, these are all flagstones underneath here, so the birds have been in here a ton and they've just kicked all the straw out of the planter beds into the path. But that's a minor detail. Here are my Marionberry, like the new plants are starting to shoot up. Here's some of the old canes and new canes alike. And here's my trellis. So you see that the trellis is all naked and bare, and all of these brown twiggy looking things, those are last year's fruiting vines, and they only bear fruit on first year vines. So I need to cut out all these second year vines. And then here's the cascade of all the new vines. There's actually supposed to be a path right through here, a fairly wide one. So that is going to be a sticky, twisted, tangly, thorny job. These two bushes here are black currants. I make jam with them and they're delicious. And already you can see they're just loaded with little baby currants on here, so that's going to be a good year for them. I think this is onion, or maybe it's leek. I don't know, it's something in the alum family. And then I have carrots that came up from last year that I didn't dig. But look at these beds, like they're virtually weed free. This is a borage that reseeds itself. These are some wayward raspberry canes that I'll dig and give to whomever wants them. And but the raspberries, they kind of held in their trellis. They're doing pretty good. My path right here is a little bit weedy. I like to leave the beautiful things like the California poppies that just come up voluntarily. And these are all violets, but I missed violet season this year. They're early. There's a few dandelions and some crazy stuff. I don't remember the name, but these are a flower that I planted, and they're coming up voluntarily. I think I'll just leave them because they're beautiful. And once I clean out the paths, you can see the path goes here, and then the path goes here, and then around. Once I clean out the paths, the beds look remarkably good. I have a persimmon tree here, and I don't know if it's late to bloom and set bud, but I don't know if I lost that one or if it's just a slow waker upper in the spring. Not sure. But there's a lot of deadheading. You see like all of these bushes, and I've got some sunflower stalks from last year. But man, it looks amazingly good. Here's my cherry tree with cherries on it. I did make the mistake one year of putting just a really tiny, like innocent looking mint plant. And I know better. I know you're not supposed to plant mint in the garden, but this is all mint. This is all mint. Mint, mint, mint. And I never planted mint over here. That's what happened this fall and winter. So I'm going to be harvesting this stuff, and I just rip it up by the roots. But it's perfect time to harvest because it hasn't gone to flower yet. Here are my chives, and I just let them reseed themselves. And reseed themselves they have. They've taken over this whole area. I will trim them out of this part of the path, and then I just leave them here. But the bees love them so much, and all sorts of insects love these flowers. And I cook with them, and I put chives in everything. So I am happy about this array of madness. Here is another bed, and there's just a few of my leeks left over from last year. There's one up there. A couple potatoes have started to pop up that I didn't get. I think there's a leek head fell over right there because there's all my starts for the spring. So I'm just going to dig those, separate them, and start more leeks. Parsley's already back up. I did lose a bunch of my lavender. I'm not sure what happened there. It survived for years, so I'll pull that up. But you can see, like, it looks remarkably good out here. The weediest bed is down here because the hillside is the windward side. This is where the wind comes from, and this is all just kind of field and grass, and it just drops off. And so the grass seed, you can see it here, all blows into this bed and reseeds itself. So that's going to be kind of a big job. This planter is pretty much overtaken with giant grasses and some wildflowers. Like, this is a beautiful thing that I'll just leave. I don't know what it is. I'll have to go look it up, but gorgeous. The grapes are coming on. They're like in their trellis. I've been a gardener for most of my life. Every apartment, every place I've ever had, I've put in a little tiny garden, if not just flowers and a tomato plant and a couple herbs. But I've always, my whole life, wanted to have fruit trees, and I've never been stable enough because I knew I wouldn't be somewhere more than a year or 2 or 3, but definitely not permanent. So a few years ago I bought several plum trees, a couple cherries. I'm hoping to get apple and pear. I have an apricot, a persimmon, a quince. But so far this year has been the biggest bud set I've ever had. The trees are now, what, 3, 4, 5 years old. Some of them, this is their 2nd year. And I want to show you the fruit set on this plum tree. This is a Santa Rosa plum, and it makes the most epic jam. I make a star anise apple and plum jam, and I'll put a link to that after this video. And for all you mobile users, YouTube has rolled out something called cards. And what it is, it's a clickable icon that you can now access from your mobile devices, where before you wouldn't be able to touch the screen and transfer over to another video. Now you can. It's a little eye, I think, over there. And you'll see the little icon in the top of this screen. So anytime I reference a video that I've done, I'll put a link to it, a little card, and then you can access it that way. It's time to go put on my rubber boots, get my shovel, some pruners, tie downs, and tackle these marionberries. Boy, the path is so choked I can't even go this way. I've got to take a new route through the hay. Can't wait to get out here with my gloves on. This is Miss Naughty Bird. Okay, I've been at this maybe 2.5 hours, and I've got all of the dead canes clipped out. And I've started to kind of untangle the really, really long ones that have been just growing for, I don't know, 7 months, 8 months along the ground. They've dug in and started new little plants in places, and I just clipped those off and used them to fill in any places where the canes died completely and kind of thicken them up a little bit. So this is what it looks like now. I've got all of those quick ties from last year taken off, and I'm going to go in the house, get my sliver out, and then come back and start tying these guys up onto these posts. So I have 2 debris piles. Here's one. If I walk up to it, it's maybe thigh high, big one. The second debris pile is about waist high, and that is it. So I did a lot of thinning, and here is the finished, tied up, tamed marionberry bushes. I sacrificed quite a few plants and canes, but I think in the long run it's going to be for everybody's best interest. Now I gotta clean up my path. The path is back. Thanks for being here. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. It really does help us creators. YouTube ranks our videos and promotes them based on interaction, involvement. All of the messages, all of the thumbs ups, thumbs downs, any comments go help us directly. So thank you for participating and showing your support that way. And I will see you shortly.